A deep voice echoed across the hall. And now the moment we've all been waiting for. To honor a true icon of rock. A man whose music has transcended generations. Please welcome the one and only Ozzy Osbourne. The entire room erupted in applause. Cameras turned toward the front row, waiting to catch a glimpse of the Prince of Darkness himself. But seconds passed, and Ozzy didn't appear. Instead, there was silence. Confused murmurs rippled through the crowd. A close-up. Camera caught the empty seat in the front row, a black chair with a golden plaque that simply read, "Reserved for Ozzy Osbourne." Then, a quiet shift in the audience. Simone was standing. A woman in an elegant black gown began walking toward the stage. Her blonde hair shimmered under the lights, her expression calm but emotional. It took the crowd only a moment to realize who it was. Kelly Osbourne. The room gasped. Some clapped instantly, others simply stared, surprised, even moved. As the daughter of the rock legend gracefully made her way up the steps, the host smiled softly, his voice trembling with admiration. "Ladies and gentlemen, accepting this award on behalf of her father, the legendary Ozzy Osbourne, please welcome Kelly Osbourne." The entire auditorium rose to its feet. A standing ovation thundered through the hall. People weren't just clapping for Ozzy. They were clapping for what this moment represented, a daughter carrying her father's legacy with love and strength. Kelly took a deep breath before reaching the microphone. You could see her hands shaking slightly, clutching the golden award. Her eyes shimmered, not with sadness, but with pride. "My dad wanted more than anything to be here tonight," she began, her voice soft but steady. "But as you all know, he's been fighting some health challenges, so he asked me to come. To say thank you, not just for this award, but for standing by him through everything." The crowd fell completely silent. Every camera light blinked red, recording her every word. It wasn't just a speech, it was a heartfelt moment between a family and the world. Kelly smiled gently, looking out into the audience. "He told me once, 'Kel, music isn't about perfection, it's about passion.' That's how he's lived his whole life. That's what this award means tonight." You could feel the emotion radiating across the hall, a mixture of pride, nostalgia, and respect. In the back rows, fans were crying. Some held up their phones, whispering, "That's so beautiful." The camera panned to Sharon Osbourne, who wiped her eyes while clapping proudly. Kelly took another breath and lifted the award slightly. "On behalf of my father, thank you for loving him through every high and every low. He may be watching from home right now, but trust me, he's rocking out with all of you in spirit." The room exploded with applause. Everyone, from fellow artists to lifelong fans, was on their feet. It wasn't just about Ozzy anymore. It was about love. It was about family. It was about the rare moment when a daughter stands in her father's place and turns the entire world into one giant family of believers. The applause echoed through the grand hall as Kelly Osbourne stepped up to the microphone, her heels clicking softly against the polished stage. The bright spotlights glimmered on the golden award she held, Ozzy Osbourne's Lifetime Achievement Award. For a moment, she just stood there, breathing deeply, collecting herself. The room, filled with legends, fans, and cameras, fell completely silent. She smiled faintly, looking up at the crowd. "Wow," she began, her voice soft but steady. "I didn't expect to be standing here tonight. My dad wanted so much to be here. He wanted to walk up those steps himself, but life had other plans." A wave of empathy moved through the audience. Kelly paused, her eyes glistening under the lights. "You all know him as the Prince of Darkness, the man who redefined rock music. But to me, he's just Dad, the man who made me laugh when I cried, the man who told me to chase my dreams even when the world called me crazy." A ripple of applause filled the air, then faded as she continued. "I grew up backstage surrounded by guitars, chaos, and music louder than thunder. But what most people don't see," she said, clutching the award tighter, "is that behind every show, every headline, every wild story, there's a heart that loves deeply. My father has one of the biggest hearts I've ever known." The camera panned across the audience, faces wet with emotion. Sharon Osbourne was seen wiping away tears. Rock legends in the front row nodded, visibly moved. Kelly took a shaky breath. There were nights we worried he wouldn't make it. Times when his health took everything from him. But even then, he'd look at me and say, "Kelly, don't you ever stop believing in yourself. The stage is where we come alive." Her voice cracked slightly. The audience erupted in gentle applause, encouraging her to continue. She smiled through the tears. "Dad taught me something powerful. That strength isn't about pretending to be invincible. It's about standing up after you've fallen 100 times." Behind her, the giant LED screen flashed through photos of Ozzy's life. His younger years with Black Sabbath, holding baby Kelly in his arms, standing with Sharon on tour, smiling despite the scars of age and struggle. Kelly turned to glance at the images, her lips trembling into a proud smile. "I know he's watching this from home right now," she said softly, "probably telling me I'm talking too much." The crowd laughed warmly. The mood softened, hearts opening wider. "But Dad," she continued, looking straight into the camera, "if you're watching, this is for you. Every note, every scream, every moment you gave to the world, tonight, the world gives it back to you." A standing ovation began. Slowly at first, then roaring through the hall like a wave, Kelly lowered her head for a moment. Overwhelmed, then she lifted the award high above her head. "You once told me," she said with a tearful smile, "no matter how dark it gets, keep rocking." The music swelled. A soft instrumental version of Crazy Train played in the background. "And that's exactly what I'll keep doing, Dad," she said. "Because your music, your spirit, and your love, they'll never fade." The crowd exploded into applause, cheering, crying, chanting Ozzy's name. "Ozzy, Ozzy, Ozzy." Kelly stepped back from the microphone, holding the award close to her heart. Her eyes shimmered with pride and emotion. She whispered quietly, almost to herself, "This isn't just an award. This is a thank you for a lifetime of love, chaos, and music." As the cheers continued, Kelly looked upward, as if sending her message straight home to her father. And in that moment, it wasn't just about fame, or rock music, or legacy. It was about love, pure and timeless, between a father and his daughter. The hall fell completely silent as Kelly Osbourne took a deep breath and turned toward the giant screen behind her. "Before I say anything more," she said softly, "I want you all to see something." The lights dimmed. A hush swept across the audience. The massive LED screen flickered to life, and suddenly decades of history began to play before everyone's eyes. It started with grainy black and white footage of a young Ozzy Osbourne, wild-eyed, hungry, and electric. The raw energy of his early performances with Black Sabbath filled the air. The pounding drums, the crowd's roars, the chaos that defined an era. Then came the transformation, the solo years. Clips of Ozzy standing before thousands, microphone raised, fans screaming his name. His voice, unmistakable, rebellious, powerful, echoed through the hall like thunder from another time. Gasps and applause broke out across the audience. Some fans sang along softly under their breath. And then, the video shifted tone. Photos of Ozzy with Sharon. Home videos of Kelly and Jack as kids, playing around their father's tour bus. Clip of Ozzy laughing, chasing his children in the garden. The crowd's cheers turned into emotional silence. Kelly turned slightly, watching her younger self on screen. For a moment, her composure faltered. She smiled through tears as a shot appeared of her holding her father's hand during a concert encore, barely 10 years old, looking up at him with awe. Behind her, the narration from the tribute video began, Ozzy's own voice from an old interview. "People see the madness, the tattoos, the screaming. But underneath all that, I'm just a man who loves his family. That's what keeps me alive." A collective, all swept through the hall. Sharon Osbourne wiped her eyes in the front row, whispering to herself, "That's my husband." The montage then fast-forwarded to Ozzy's more recent years, footage of him walking carefully with a cane, recovering from surgery, smiling and waving, to fans who still screamed his name. The resilience, the gratitude, the love. It wasn't just a tribute to a rock star, it was a portrait of a survivor. As the final image faded, Ozzy's iconic pose, arms outstretched to the crowd. The lights slowly came back on. Kelly stood motionless for a moment, her head bowed. Then she looked up, voice trembling yet steady. My dad couldn't be here tonight, but he's watching this right now from home. And, Dad, I hope you know how much you're loved. The crowd erupted in applause. People stood up one by one until the entire hall was on its feet. Kelly smiled, blinking back tears. You've taught me that strength isn't about how loud you can be. It's about how much heart you put into everything you do. And Dad, your heart has always been louder than your music. Her words hit home. Even the camera operators had tears in their eyes. At that exact moment, the screen behind her flickered again, and a live video feed appeared. There was Ozzy, sitting at home, wrapped in a black jacket, grinning from ear to ear. He raised his hand and waved at the audience. The room exploded. Cheers, screams, claps. The crowd went wild. Kelly turned, saw her dad on the screen and whispered, "Hi, Dad." Ozzy's voice echoed through the speakers, raspy but full of joy. "You did great. Love. Thank you." Kelly laughed through her tears. The audience, celebrities, musicians, fans, all began chanting in unison. Ozzy, Ozzy, Ozzy. It was no longer just an award show. It was a celebration of a legacy, of music, family, and survival. Kelly lifted the award, her hands trembling slightly. "This one's for you, Dad," she said. "The Prince of Darkness, but the light of our family." And with that, the cameras captured the moment that would soon go viral across the world, a daughter standing strong for her father. Not in his shadow, but as a reflection of everything he stood for. The image of Kelly, teary-eyed but proud, holding the award high with Ozzy smiling from the screen behind her, became the photograph of the night. A single, perfect picture of love, legacy, and rock and roll immortality. The crowd was still on their feet when Kelly Osbourne stepped back to the microphone. The golden award gleamed under the lights, heavy in her trembling hands. For a moment, she looked down at it, then up at the sea of faces staring back, waiting for her words. She took a deep breath, her voice soft but steady, filled the hall. "I know my dad wishes he could be here tonight. Believe me, if there's anyone who hates missing a party, it's Ozzy Osbourne." Laughter rippled through the crowd. Even in the emotional air, her wit broke the tension, but then her smile softened and her eyes glistened. But tonight isn't just about awards, it's about legacy, about the people who never stop, even when life gives them every reason to. The room grew quiet again. You could feel the weight of her words. She glanced toward the screen behind her, a live feed showing a pre-recorded clip of Ozzy watching from home, eyes twinkling with pride. The crowd gasped softly, touched by the sight. Kelly continued, her voice gaining strength with every sentence. "For most of my life, I've watched my father pour every ounce of his soul into music. I've seen him walk on stage when he could barely walk at all. I've seen him go from chaos to clarity, from pain to performance, just to make his fans happy. That's what being an artist means." She paused. Cameras flashed. Sharon Osbourne was wiping away tears in the front row. Kelly smiled gently through her own emotion. "You know, people call him the Prince of Darkness. But to me, he's just Dad. The man who told me, don't ever let the world tell you who you are, show them." And that's exactly what he's done for over 5 decades. The crowd erupted into applause. Some people stood again, cheering. Kelly waited for the noise to settle, then spoke with a deeper conviction. "My dad always said, music saved his life. But what he never says is that you, the fans, saved him too. Every single one of you who ever screamed his lyrics, raised your fists, or wore his t-shirt. You gave him the strength to keep going." Her words echoed through the hall, powerful and heartfelt. She held up the award, the golden reflection catching the stage lights. This doesn't just belong to Ozzy Osbourne. It belongs to every person who's ever fought to stay standing, to every dreamer who's ever felt broken but refused to quit. My father taught me that real power isn't in fame or fortune, it's in never giving up. The camera zoomed in on her face, proud, emotional, glowing with love and strength. Behind her, the giant screen flickered to a clip of Ozzy in his prime, spinning his mic stand, roaring to the crowd full of energy. The audience cheered wildly. Kelly turned back to the crowd, her voice breaking slightly. "Dad, if you're watching this one's for you. Thank you for teaching me what strength really looks like. Thank you for showing the world that rock and roll isn't just music, it's a heartbeat." The audience rose to their feet again. A thunder of applause shook the hall. Somewhere in the back, a fan shouted, "We love you, Ozzy." And another yelled, "We love you, Kelly." Kelly smiled through her tears, raised the award high one last time, and said, "To my dad, the legend, the fighter, the heart of rock itself, this is your moment. And to everyone out there, remember, legends never die." The music swelled, a soft instrumental version of Dreamer. Lights dimmed to a deep purple glow, Ozzy's signature color, as Kelly walked off the stage, clutching the award to her chest. The audience kept applauding long after she was gone. It wasn't just an acceptance speech anymore. It was a love letter. A love letter from a daughter to her father, from a generation to a legend, and from the world to Ozzy Osbourne. The ceremony may have ended that night, but the moment was just beginning to take on a life of its own. As Kelly Osbourne stepped off stage, still holding her father's Lifetime Achievement Award, flashes from 100 cameras lit up the air. Within minutes, clips of her speech began spreading across social media like wildfire. A fan's tweet went viral first. "Kelly Osbourne just made everyone cry. That speech for Ozzy, pure love." Another wrote, "This is why the Osbournes will always be legends, class, emotion, and heart." By midnight, the hashtag number for Ozzy was trending #1 worldwide. Millions of fans from Los Angeles to London, from Sydney to São Paulo, were sharing the video, and every comment had one thing in common: respect, narration, tone. People weren't just seeing a daughter accept an award. They were seeing a family's legacy, love, loyalty, and music come full circle. Clips flooded TikTok. Edits paired her trembling voice with old concert footage of Ozzy screaming to a crowd of thousands. The contrast hit hard. The wild rock god now replaced by his graceful daughter, standing tall for him. Comment sections overflowed. She spoke with her heart. Ozzy raised her right. The moment she said, "His spirit is louder than ever," I broke down. Even celebrities joined in. Musicians from Metallica to Elton John reposted the clip, writing messages like, "Rock royalty runs in the family." Ozzy would be proud. We all are. Television hosts replayed the emotional scene the next morning. Entertainment networks called it the most heartfelt moment in award show history. For Kelly, it wasn't about going viral. It was about representing her father with dignity and love. But the world had noticed something more profound: the transformation of the Osbourne name, once known for chaos, rebellion, and the raw energy of rock and roll, now symbolizing resilience, family, and gratitude. Behind the scenes, Ozzy himself was watching the reactions pour in from his home. His team later shared that he sat quietly for a while, smiling through tears, whispering, "That's my girl." The clip reached over 20 million views in less than 24 hours. Fan-made tributes combined old Black Sabbath footage with Kelly's voice, over creating emotional montages that left people speechless. And through it all, Kelly stayed humble. She didn't post a word about the speech, just a single photo of her holding the award with the caption, "For Dad, always." That one post broke the internet. Thousands of comments poured in. "We're crying again. Family forever. The Osbourne legacy will never fade." Narration close. In an age where viral moments come and go, this one stayed because it wasn't about fame or attention. It was about a daughter honoring her father, a legend reminding the world that love outlasts everything, even time. The morning after the awards, the world was still buzzing. Clips of Kelly Osbourne standing on that stage had gone everywhere, from prime-time news to TikTok edits paired with old Ozzy guitar riffs. Hashtags like #4Ozzy and #ProudDaughter were trending in more than a dozen countries. But inside the Osbourne home, the moment was much quieter. Sunlight slipped through the curtains, falling across shelves lined with gold records. A small television in the living room replayed Kelly's speech from the night before. On the couch sat Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness himself, wrapped in a blanket, a faint smile cutting through his weathered face. Sharon stood beside him, eyes glistening. When Kelly appeared on screen lifting the award, Ozzy chuckled softly. "She did good, didn't she?" he murmured, his voice rough but proud. Sharon nodded. She was perfect. Moments later, Ozzy picked up his phone and began recording a short video. His voice trembled slightly, but his words carried the weight of decades. "I saw everything last night," he said. "Kelly, you made me proud. You made me cry. I couldn't be there, but you were my voice. I love you." He posted it online with one simple caption: "For my daughter, my heart, my strength." Within minutes, the clip exploded. Fans from every generation, rockers, parents, kids who had grown up watching the Osbournes, filled the comments with tears and memories. The toughest man in rock showing the softest side. Family is the real legacy. "We're crying with you, Ozzy." Kelly saw the message while sitting in her car, exhausted from the whirlwind of interviews. When she read his words, she broke down in quiet tears. For her, the award wasn't just about music. It was about love, survival, and the bond that had weathered fame, scandal, and time. Later that evening, the family gathered for dinner. Simple, laughter, filled, no cameras, no crowd. Ozzy lifted the trophy from the table, looked around at his family, and said, This belongs to all of us." Everyone clapped, and for a brief moment, it felt like the chaos of fame had melted away. That night reminded the world that behind every legend stands the people who believed in him first. Family Kelly Osbourne didn't just accept an award. She carried her father's spirit into a new generation, and in doing so, she reminded millions that legacy isn't measured in trophies, it's measured in love. As the screen fades to black, soft guitar chords echo in the background, a gentle nod to Crazy Train. If you believe family is the greatest award of all, type legend in the comments, and subscribe for more inspiring celebrity stories like this one.